We're going to start the chapter of the second chapter of chemistry, that is matter around us pure? Alright, what is a pure substance? A pure substance, or what we call as a homogeneous substance, okay, is made up of, or it contains only one type of particles. I can tell this more better by telling you that it is divided into two types. Okay, pure substance, we have got two types of pure substances. One is an element and another is a compound. An element is a pure substance. Just now I told you that it is made up of the same or the one type of particles. That means in this case, an element is a pure substance which is made up of only one type or the same kind of atoms. I'll show this more broadly by telling you an example. Example of an element is oxygen, iron, gold, bromine, etc. Now, in a cylinder of oxygen, we will see that it is made up of the same kind of atoms or the one kind of particles, that is oxygen atoms. Here you can see that all the oxygen atoms are of the same kind in a cylinder of oxygen. So a pure substance is made up of the same kind of atoms. Another example is if you have a bar of gold. In this bar of gold, there are, if I break it into small particles, also it is going to be a bar of gold. If I break it into the smallest particle, which I cannot break up anymore, that is an atom. And all these particles, the smallest part here, that is an atom, are all gold atoms. You will not find any other atoms but the atom of gold. And in this oxygen cylinder, you will find all the atoms are only atoms of oxygen and not of any other substance. Okay, now let us look into compound. Compound is a pure substance again, which is made up of two or more elements, all right, which are made up of the atoms of two or more elements in a definite ratio. Let me show this with an example. I have given here two examples, water and sugar. You'll have many more other examples. All right, in water and sugar, water is, this is the formula of water, H2O. H2O means there are two atoms of hydrogen with one atom of oxygen. All right, this is a molecule. These atoms join together. We call this as a molecule of water. All right, in a glass of water, there are many molecules of water. So this is a compound. It is made up of molecules. I say that it is made up of molecules of atoms, and these atoms are of two, or it can be of different or more elements. Okay, can be of two or more different elements. Now these compound, all right, in a compound we cannot break up these elements very easily. Only we can break them only by chemical means. Now if you look at the elements again, we can classify these elements as solids, liquids and gases. For example, in a solid, I'm giving just one example, that is an iron. Liquid, one example, bromine. Gas, one example, that is oxygen. Also, I can classify the elements as metals, non-metals and metalloids. One example of metal being iron, one metal of a non-metal being oxygen, another metal of metalloids being boron and silicon, etc. Now, I usually represent an element by a symbol. All right, what is a symbol? The symbol is actually the first letter of the name of the element, or the first letter and the other letter. For example, hydrogen has got the symbol H. Magnesium, the symbol is Mg. Lead, we take it from the Latin name plumbum. So the letters that we have is the first letter P and another letter that is B. This is how we represent. This is a symbol. These are all different symbols of the elements. Alright, now for the properties of metals, non-metals, we need to read from the textbook as it is already done in class 8. Now, compounds, I already told you, we can classify them as acids, bases, and salts. One example of an acid being sulfuric acid. Acid is a substance we all know which is sour to taste. In the lower classes, you have learned that simple definition of a base, all right, which is bitter in taste. All right, one example is sodium hydroxide. Then salt. One example is sodium chloride. All right, when we mix an acid and a base, we usually get salt and water. Now, both elements and compounds, since they are pure substances, these are some of the characteristics of elements and compounds. Because they are pure substances, first of all, the characteristic is they are homogeneous. Homogeneous means the particles are equally distributed throughout an element. They have got a definite set of properties. Then the third one is that the properties is different from the properties of other substance. For example, if two elements here, hydrogen and iron, the properties of hydrogen you will know is totally going to be different from the properties of iron. One is a gas, the other is a solid. All right. Now, to go more in detail about this homogeneous, I want to explain more further when we do when we go more in detail. All right. Composition, we cannot be altered by simple physical means. I have told you earlier that if we have got water, which is made up of hydrogen and oxygen atoms, now this cannot be broken very easily. The composition of water cannot be broken easily by simple physical means. Then the last one, that is the last characteristic, it has got a definite melting point and boiling point. This melting point and boiling point of the substance, whether it is an element or whether it is of a compound, is very important to find whether the substance is pure or not. To find whether the given substance, where suppose you have got a small piece of sulfur, it can be small sulfur. Sulfur is a nonmetal, all right, or you have got a small piece of iron. To find that whether it is pure or not, we find out the melting point and the boiling point. If we find that the melting point and boiling point is higher or lower than what it should be, then that means the substance is not pure. Now, we are talking only about pure substance. Let us talk about what is an impure substance. Impure substance, we classify it as mixtures. Alright, so usually mixtures are actually not pure substance, but they may contain, alright, more than two substances, whether elements or compounds. It can be a mixture of an element with an element. Alright, you can have an element with a compound, or you can have a compound with a compound. All right, elements are so many elements are there. You can have, all right, that is, you can have a mixture of gas with any particles, with any solid particles. All right, that is, you can have a metal with a non-metal with a non-metal, metal with a metal. Whether it is solid and a liquid and a liquid, there can be many variations. All right, but these are simply given here. I can just give one example. Example here I can give one is water, or the last one, that is compound with compound, water with another compound, that is sugar. This is one mixture, and I also can consider this mixture. This is one mixture. Then you can have many different mixtures. All right, this mixture where there is one is a liquid and one is a solid.